Welcome back to another episode of Big Plays Podcast. The crew's back as usual, week to week. We're bringing fresh content. This past week has been exciting as all hell. In sports, not really. You think sports is back? They're slowly fading away. We're going to start out the episode this week. The NFL has decided to make players decide if they're going to opt out of the season. They set a date, August 6th, this upcoming Thursday. So, tomorrow, when you're watching the video, players need to decide if they're going to play or not. Guys, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about the NFL telling their players, giving them a timeline, to make a decision like this?
So I got two issues with it. One, it's an extremely short notice. You're giving players a 3-day notice on whether they want to play this season or if they're going to sit out.
Yeah.
The other big issue is that we don't know what's in store for the next 2 months of this virus. We have another 5 weeks until football starts. So why not give them these 5 weeks? I understand training camps are starting, but why not give these players the 5 weeks to decide, depending on how we are able to move forward as a country? So
Right.
those are my two biggest issues with it. I think it's kind of stupid. I mean, I don't think that they should take baseball's route and let players opt out after the season's already begun. But I also think that they could have given these guys a little either more notice or more time to make the craziest decision of the year and potentially of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing right now in the MLB is kind of crazy. Just the virus alone, playing during it is crazy in itself. So, like, we're seeing teams have case outbreaks all over the country. Like, it's not just one area. We can't fully trust these players to quarantine themselves because it's a lot to ask. I understand, but I I don't see baseball finishing. I don't see football finishing because I don't know.
Yeah, so it's funny. It's funny you bring that up about the NFL. And you know what, Rome, go ahead, Rome. Take me.
No, go.
Well, no, I was gonna say it's funny that you're bringing up the MLB like this, and you look at the NBA, and the NBA is in a bubble, right? And the NFL a week ago, the Players Association decided that they were not going to be in a bubble. They decided they did not want their players doing that. They didn't think it was fair to them. They wanted their players to see their families. And the Players Association, okay, did the right thing by the players, but where do you draw the line in the pandemic to where this is a business, it's a sport,
Right.
it's either going to start up or it's not. So I feel like the NFL's answer is like, listen, man, you got 3 days to decide. You're either in or you're out. And I feel like it's unfair to the player themselves, each individual player, because, who knows where we're going to be 2 months from now. We might experience another lockdown. We might experience, another quarantine session. Already there are 30 plus states on the list that if you live in New York, you can't go to and then come back and go back to work. You have to quarantine for 14 days, 2 weeks. And,
Yeah.
a lot of these players, they're going out, they're having fun. Most of them just want to go home and see their families. But who's not to say that their families, their kids aren't going over their friend's house, their wives aren't going out to the store. It's eventually gonna happen. It might catch up to you, it might not. But in terms of catching the virus, like it's out there, and everyone is prone to getting it. Uh, and maybe the NBA did the right thing by putting their players in a bubble, but look at the NBA; they're getting cases now. Look at the NHL. The NHL's been around for a week, not one single positive case. I don't know what the NHL's doing, but everybody should look at what they're doing and try to replicate it. I know it's not as big of a league, but
NHL's in a bubble also. They're in a bubble in Canada.
Yeah.
So
Canada's also handling the whole thing a little better than we are as a country.
right, but what do you feel, Rome? How do you feel about the 3-day notice for the NFL players?
You're not gonna like what I have to say, but honestly, I think they should scrap the season and hold off until next year. And just if they're about business, then in a business sense, you look at what your competitors are doing, and then you follow or you tweak and you make that adjustment. As you stated with the bubble thing, that's the safest way to go about conducting business. But if you're talking about you care about the people and the players and all that other stuff, you're not gonna let these people just be of free will. You can't if you're trying to fully guarantee a season. Now, if you just want to have some games or whatever, then fine, carry on as normal. But these are not normal circumstances. So if you want to carry on as normal, then you're gonna have an MLB situation, 100%,
Yep.
and a soccer situation. Soccer has cases of the virus and stuff like that, so it's not flowing as well. Also, PGA golf has the same situations, coronavirus cases.
It's everywhere.
A season, you have to have restrictions and limitations.
Yeah.
So, and then also to force someone to make a life changing decision, because it can be life or death. It's maybe not for the players, but for someone they love or someone they see, care about, whatever the case may be. It's life or death. We don't know what this virus is still. And what are we, 6 months, 8 months in, whatever, that's to this whole thing?
Yeah.
It's a scary thing. And it's irrational to make somebody make a decision 3 days notice. I think that's unfair, and I think they should just hold off. Maybe January might be a better situation. Maybe we'll have spring football. Maybe that might be better. Who knows? I don't know, but it just don't sound safe to me, and I just think it's not fair for everybody involved.
Yeah, that's very well said. And
That's another thing that's interesting about football as an entire sport. Sorry, Frank.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Football as an entire sport, you can win it and play it later on. Like the seasons aren't going to have. Yes, obviously football's always been a winter sport, but if you have to, just postpone it 4 months. You know, and yeah, you might have other competition in other sports, but it's a sport that you're capable of playing, and it's not weather dependent.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah, I feel like so many big name players have opted out already because they foresee themselves not playing this year. You know, they see the NFL potentially not going into the bubble, and if same thing happening with the MLB, not finishing out the season. So a lot of big star players, are already making the decision. So I feel collectively that maybe on August 6th, the Players Association comes to an agreement saying, listen. You can't tell us you can't tell us this information right now, and what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to move the timeline forward, or just put no timeline on it at all. And it's either gonna happen when it happens, or we're gonna postpone everything to a later date and just see how the country reacts. You can't just stop everything to keep the show rolling. You know.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
And I want all you to give me your honest answer.
And
in a situation where, let's say, two-part question. So, if there was a bubble, would you do the bubble? And if there isn't a bubble, would you do the bubble? I mean, would you still play? Like, so either or. What would your choice be? Like, would you still do it?
I think it depends on if I have a family or not. Like, if I would totally do the bubble because that's the way it's the safest. But if there's no bubble, it 100% depends on who's at home with me. Like, a lot of these players have newborn babies that they have to worry about. Maybe some of them have their parents living with them. Wanted them to bring them into their nice house. I don't know. But at risk, like, they're all, supreme specimens of humans, so not a lot of them are going to have to really worry about this virus, but it's their families that they have to worry about. So that's what it depends on for me. If I'm how I am now, 100% I'm doing that. I'm playing. I love football. I would love to play football. It would get my mind off of the world.
True.
Go ahead.
I'll put it in simple terms. I think maybe I'm looking at it from like an outside looking in. Everyone has to understand that players are regular. They're regular people. They're just like us. They have families. They get sick just like us. They're not superheroes. So if you're gonna opt out, or you don't want to play, given the option to play in a bubble, if you felt it was safe enough and you trusted everybody that's going into that area to sign a waiver, say you're not going to go out, and for the 2 or 3 months you're going to stay there, train, and play the sport, and get the season over with. Whether it's whether they accelerate the season a little bit, it's really the shortest season for a sport there is in the NFL. But if you trusted everybody, me personally, I would probably play in the bubble if you can get that trust out of everybody to be like, listen, we're all good. Nobody tested. You're gonna have daily tests. It's gonna be weird. Like it's not something that we're used to normally. But it is what it is. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Broncos earlier today at training camp, but they literally had people spraying them down with disinfectant before they got onto the field, which is just like so weird to me. Like little guys with hoses spraying the players with disinfecting spray, their whole bodies. I'm like, this is crazy. This is not
That's
the
wild.
world. And I understand opting out because it's not the sport you signed up for. It's not the world you want to live in. So with that being said, I understand why you wouldn't, and I understand why you would. But if you're giving me, $5-10 million a year, I'll probably stay in the bubble for a couple of months. Me personally.
Yeah.
Joey?
So here's the biggest problem. The NFL, similar to the MLB, it's going to be extraordinarily difficult to put this amount of people in a bubble. It's too large of an activity. You have 60 plus people per team. You have multiple coaches. And then, so you literally would have to lock down a vacant city and make it yours. Kind of like the UFC, you'd almost have to get an island. But obviously, you just can't do that. It's kind of unrealistic. So that's why the bubble's so difficult and why the NFL is kind of leaning away towards it, which means there probably won't be a bubble, which is what's going to make this season so difficult to happen. But as a player, I think I would probably play because one, it's my job. So that's where my money's coming from. That's where my source of income is. I know a lot of these players already have a ton of money and they could sit out and be safe and be responsible. But if you're a young guy and you still want your paycheck and you might not know how long your career is, you could have a career-ending injury any day. I would probably play and I would take it on myself to be responsible to not go around my family.
Right.
I might catch the disease, but you know what? I'm a top of the world athlete who has better odds than the rest of the world of not getting sick and being asymptomatic. So with that, I would probably play just for me progressing as a person financially and setting up my future, and potentially setting yourself up with a new team and a new contract and proving yourself as an elite athlete. But it also depends on where your status is in the league. If I'm an elite player who already made a ton of money and honestly I'm on the downward decline in my career, yeah, I might sit out a year. Who cares? You've done everything. I would even consider retirement as at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Can I say this though?
Good.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've been dealing with this for about 7 months, 7 to 8 months, or whatever the case may be. And if they wanted to have a full-fledged season, we're talking about, what is it, 30? It's 32 NFL teams? 30 teams?
32.
32?
32.
So you're talking about 30 billionaires? You're telling me somebody can't cough up the money or equally and buy an island or I'm pretty sure they have an island or whatever. Put fields on the island, get something going. If you want to do it safely and you care about everybody's safety, you have to take whatever measures you need to go about this the most safe, proper way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no normal. As Frank pointed out, like, the disinfecting thing, there's no normal. So any precautions you have to take and should take, you must take them. Giving somebody 3 days notice to make a decision like that, it's not right.
It's obscene.
So I think, like, again, to my original statement, scrap it. It's not fair.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick because Joey said something interesting. Joey said something about him personally being a player. So you got to think about the NFL. Like, you're talking this 53 people on a roster, right? And there's usually about 75, and then they make those big cuts. There's even sometimes even more, close to 100 people, and they got to make those cuts down to 53. And there's always that one guy that doesn't make the cut, right? But he worked his ass off. And when you're playing and you want to become a superstar, all it takes is that one play, that one catch, that one touchdown, that one throw to become that superstar, to become a fan of the people in your hometown. So for all those players that have big names that want to opt out, you have to understand, yeah, you're the best at what you do, but the NFL will replace you right away, and there will be another star eventually. So that's some a reality that I feel like you're not hearing superstars wanting to sit out. You're just hearing like the ones that you know are good enough, to like almost there. Devin McCourty's coming out and saying a lot of stuff and how he thinks it's unfair. He's a superstar. You know, OBJ says they shouldn't even have a season. He's a superstar. But like when someone like Marquise Goodwin opts out, it's like, okay, well, Marquise Goodwin, you could get replaced by maybe Jalen Rager, who's rookie and wants to play and wants to prove himself. So these players are really put in a tough spot. So I think the 3 days notice is pretty unfair right now. So I think they have to scrap that. I think it will get scrapped.
I must say this though. I must say this before we continue. Like honestly, if they do have the season and they have something minor happen or whatever, and they can continue a full season, I think everybody feels that will play. They can win. Whoever plays, I feel like they can win. Like if everybody, I feel like it's so open because of this unforeseen circumstances. It's so wide open.
Yeah.
There's no favorites. Don't tell me about because you don't know. You don't
Yeah.
know. So it's
Exactly.
enticing and like treat,
Yeah.
but it's like so why they're gonna give it a chance? Because why not us?
Yeah.
Also, you
Why
got to
not
think
us?
about the fact that there aren't going to be any crowds. So
Yeah.
those teams that that 12th man,
Yeah.
um, that when they make a big factor in the game, it's not going to be that way anymore. So the whole game is different this year.
Yeah. It's gonna
We're
be
going to
weird,
see how it plays out.
but
Plus,
on a
the sport itself is a very high contact, high. They're so close to each other.
yeah, that you gotta. It's a
I'm
contact
not very
sport.
confident.
Um, just one quick question before we move on. It's a yes or no. Do you think the NFL season is gonna start up in 2020? We'll go
I
around the
think it'll
clock.
start.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it'll start. I don't think it'll finish.
Okay. Rome.
I kind of agree with Rice. I think they'll do their best to make it work, and they'll probably even push forward, even if it's not going well, kind of like baseball has so far. So I
Okay.
think it'll
Yeah.
start and finish. It just might be real ugly.
Okay.
You got to
Rome.
remember these owners want to make money.
In my heart, I want to say yes, but honestly, if I'm thinking logically, looking at baseball and how it's going, I think they push it back till January, February, and then start then. I think we're gonna have football. I think it's gonna be spring. It's gonna
That
be
would
spring.
be the logical thing.
Yeah. You know that
I don't think it'll
money
happen like
talks
that.
in the world of you know
Yeah,
wealthy billionaires.
It's
So
but if you're looking at it,
they
there's
don't
no.
care.
It's not. It's not safe. It's not safe. Look at
yeah.
It's
look at
not
the numbers.
safe.
Look at the numbers you're throwing out. So as a football team and staff all together, you're looking at 120 people, 100 people on the sideline. That's
I,
not safe.
I know, but
That's not safe.
listen, the owners aren't the ones sitting on the sideline. The owners are up in the box. They're at home watching the game. They don't. They just care about this. So with that being
Yep.
said, I'm gonna say that the season is most likely gonna start. I think it'll be delayed a little bit, um, but I think that we're probably gonna see. You're not getting a preseason. You know that already. I think you're gonna see just the new norm of them taking extra precaution. I think players are gonna get pissed. I think a lot of players are gonna just decide to opt out. And I think the season will start, but like I said, they're just gonna try to replace these stars, and you're not gonna get the NFL that you love.
One
Okay,
more
bro.
question. One more question. As you said, replacing stars, so that fit in perfect. How do you replace a head coach? Doug Peterson just caught the virus. He has the virus.
Yeah,
What do? That's your head coach.
exactly. You got to put him on a Zoom call and put him on the sideline on his computer screen.
That's
That's
cheating.
it.
I mean, he's
Adapt.
lucky that he has it now and not during the season.
Yeah.
That's cheating. I like Bill Belichick. Can't do it.
Yes. Well, with Doug
Teams are going to
Peterson.
have to adapt.
Sorry,
I'm
but
just saying.
all right. Moving on to lighter news, a little bit better. Dwayne the Rock Johnson and his partners, Danny Garcia and Redbird Capital, just bought out Vince McMahon's XFL for $15 million. So,
I love it.
if the NFL decides to botch this season, the XFL and Dwayne The Rock Johnson's work effort, can really shine maybe next year or in the future. 15 million's a steal, I think. Go ahead, Rome.
I got you. I got you. Right now, this is gonna be glorified. You ready? Ready? Celebrity. Right. Flag football is gonna happen because again, what do we do? We can't go from if the NFL can't play, the XFL can't play. I don't care. It's gonna be
Yeah.
glorified celebrity flag football, and I'm into that. Anything. I'm with it. I'm with it. But we don't really see nothing going on here. It can't be like if the number one sport in the world is not going to take place, or that It can't happen. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's not going to happen. But I feel like if the NFL rubs players the wrong way this season, then some of those superstar players might look to join the XFL. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is very convincing. I don't know if you watch Ballers,
Very.
but
I do.
he literally plays.
Great show. Great show.
An incredible HBO show. Highly recommended. But, he plays an agent, and it's amazing. And I think he's literally gonna take that aspect of his career and try to use his bravado and his attitude to swing these players to be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you just come play in the XFL? And then you create competition at the sport. It's gonna be interesting.
My thing is, the XFL when they were playing was surprisingly exciting.
No, it wasn't.
Compared to what
it was so bad.
It was.
It was so bad.
They tried a lot of other football leagues that sucked horribly, but the XFL actually had some traction. It did. So it was nothing like the NFL, but it still, compared to the smaller leagues, was doing better. And the fact that Dwayne Johnson is part of a group of people that bought it, it brings me hope that we will get to see it again, and it'll be like almost like a minor league to me for the NFL.
Maybe. Joey, what do you
so
think?
So that players could showcase talent.
All right, listen up, boys. $15 million is a steal to buy any sports organization, but the problem is the XFL fucking sucks, so it'll never do well. So no matter what, no matter how cheap he got it, and yeah, it's a great deal, it don't fucking matter. It don't matter. The XFL will never even compete with the NFL in any possible range. And yeah, this might be a future purchase. It's not for now. It's not for immediate.
Yeah.
But I just don't care that much, honestly. And also, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is like the most overrated college football player of all time.
Overrated.
Warren Sapp just came out and was like, "This guy never even played." Yeah.
Wait, football player, sure, fine.
Wait, can I say?
Yeah, I mean nobody's saying he was a great football player.
Yeah, I know.
Can I say this?
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
I think the people should know, and they should think to themselves: can you smell what the XFL is cooking?
100%. 100%.
I love it.
Listen, I just think The Rock, anything he touches turns into money.
It's gold.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm excited to see.
This might make him a billionaire.
I'm excited to see where it's gonna go. He's got 2 other named partners in this deal right now. So, I think, it's never gonna be the NFL. That's 100%.
Right.
But it's gonna be something extra that is gonna potentially get you there. And you mentioned how the NFL maybe should start up in the spring. Well, maybe the XFL is already thinking, well, we're going to be a springtime thing anyway because the NFL handles the fall, But we'll see. We'll see. If they happen at the same time, if the NFL happens in spring and then the XFL decides to do the same thing, the XFL is getting shit out in the ratings. They're gonna tank and they're gonna close.
Where do you think they play? They play in NFL stadiums, some of them. So
some of them.
They beat.
For now.
What we saw with the XFL was different, and we saw players who shined in the XFL get signed to NFL teams.
True.
So that's what I like from it. Like, it gives players the opportunity to prove their worth.
Okay. Now, I want to do something exciting. We're approaching the end of the podcast. I want to go around. We'll start with Rice. We'll go to Joey. We'll go to Rome. We'll go to me. I want you guys to talk about the most heartbreaking thing in sports that happened this week. Just your personal heartbreaking moment.
Yeah.
You guys might have this. You guys might all have the same. You might not. But one heartbreaking moment for you in sports this week. Rice, kick us off, baby.
Heartbreaking moment in sports.
Well, you're not a Mets
probably fan. For me, hearing that C.J. Mosley was opting out of the Jets season. That's what got me.
Okay.
That's another big hit to the Jets.
Yeah.
That we did not need.
After Adams, yeah, sure. Joey?
Yeah.
You guys might be very, very surprised by this answer because it's for one of my rivals, but it's always, always extremely sad when an incredibly young and talented baseball player suffers a serious injury. And during the Mets game tonight, Mike Soroka was pitching against Jake DeGrom. He fielded a ground ball and started running towards first, or he ground ball to first. He went to first to go cover, and it looks like he blew out his Achilles. He's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, wildly talented, and I could always feel for something like that, man. That's brutal. So wishing he recovery to Mike Soroka. And the Atlanta Braves are in first place right now and have a chance of winning the World Series this year. So
speedy recovery for him for sure. Yeah,
that's heartbreaking in my opinion.
That's a big hit for the Braves. Go ahead, bro.
Honestly, y'all gonna be shocked, but last week was Mike Golick's last week as radio personality for ESPN.
Yeah.
So he won't be doing that anymore, and I think that's like really substantial because in this state, in this sports realm, we have voices, and he's one of the voices that we listen to and hear talk about the love of the game and stuff like that. So it's gonna be something that's missed in the game. So I would say that for me right there.
Yep, Mike, if you're listening, thank you for all the sports love. All right, so I know everyone thinking, oh, Doug Peterson getting COVID. Is gonna be mine. It's definitely up there. But listen, I mean, geez. I'm gonna say it. It's not even Yoenis Cespedes. All right, it's how potentially the Mets screwed everything over media-wise and are potentially making me believe that Yoenis Cespedes just upright packed his bags, left the building, and didn't tell anybody. Because earlier reports are saying that Nimmo knew a couple days before. So how do players know before the organization? And then the organization says this. So just as a Mets fan, it's just some typical Mets fashion that, why do I even watch baseball? I don't know. It comes back. I get excited for it. 3-7, beating the Braves tonight. Soraka gets hurt. Whatever. Game's still being played out. It doesn't matter.
They need to sell the team.
They need to sell the team. Yeah. So I guess the heartbreak moment for me is just being a Mets fan, as usual.
A-Rod. J-Lo.
I feel
The Rock.
For you Met fans. I really
Patrick Mahomes. Pull your money together. Somebody.
I take whoever.
There's one answer to that question, and his name is Stephen Cohen. He's the only answer.
That was
Stephen Cohen's still in the bid.
I'm not even
still in the bid. He's the
so
answer.
So wild that
I'll take whoever.
Listen. All right. So
as long as it's not
closing note for me. Yoenis Cespedes, thank you for everything you did in 2015. You pretty much single-handedly carried us there offensively. Thank you. If you're not a Met eventually, thanks anyway. That's all I gotta say. Fucking Mets. But all right. Any other closing notes from you guys?
I think that does it.
All right. Well, listen, guys.
I mean, wait.
Whoa. We gotta wait.
Honestly, I just want to say, if you have a job to do and you sign a contract and you said you would do the job, just do the job. Everything that comes with the job. That means staying safe, being smart, not putting people in harm's way. And that goes for everybody in the world, just for yourselves. I think everybody should just stay smart, be safe, and let's actually fight this thing together. Together means doing everything we're supposed to be doing as far as the virus. I'm talking about the virus. Huh?
Are you calling out the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals?
I think I'm calling all of MLB, the commissioner. He's an idiot. Anybody who's making those decisions that's putting people in danger is an idiot, because this is the unknown. And if you want to fight something that's unknown, you got to do it together. So,
yep.
Gotta
listen to the professionals at the end of the day. I agree. Well, Big Plays Podcast, everyone. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Tune in weekly every Wednesday on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. We're out there. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. That's it.
Love you.
Peace.
Later.